let's talk about how to shatter the glass ceiling once and for all. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and our idiom, our expression today is the glass ceiling. The glass ceiling, of course, is that invisible boundary, that silent, quiet, unseeable barrier that prevents people, usually women, but women and people of different backgrounds, from achieving the highest level possible they could in their organization. The glass ceiling was actually coined, the term, by Marilyn Loden was her name, in 1978. She was at a women's expedition in New York, and she was asked to speak as her and represent the organization's only female executive at the time. And she was asked to explain why. Okay, I'm going to read this exactly. Only female executive invited to discuss how women were to blame for the barriers preventing them from advancing in their careers. So basically, back then, it was all the women's fault that they weren't advancing past this invisible ceiling. And ever since then, I participated in my corporate career and in my businesses in a lot of activities and a lot of things that help women to advance the ranks in corporate America. We formed a women's group at Procter & Gamble, back in the 80s when I worked there. And I did a lot of things in different corporations to advance women, to mentor women and bring them along up in the organization as I advanced in the ranks. Because I think that it's important that our organizations represent the people that we serve, so that people of different ethnicities, people of different genders are represented in our organizations, not in equal, because there's no such thing as fair and equal, but their voices are at least represented in our organization so that we're serving them well. So, you know, there's a lot of talk about racism and sexism and things in the workplace right now. It's been going on since I joined corporate America back in the mid 80s. I joined corporate America in the mid 80s, and it's gotten better, but it still exists. Studies are being done on it all the time. And how do you overcome it? Because it's one thing to identify that there's a problem, but it doesn't do any good to just point fingers at the problem like we're doing in the media with racism these days. It's like, how are you going to solve the problem? Get over the problem and focus on solutions. So how do we do that? I've got a 6-step process, use my magnifying glass, to share 6 ways that you can make sure that in your organization, you're not creating a glass ceiling for anyone. Maybe it's just an individual, because an individual is different. In some organizations, the sales organization, all the sales organization rises to the top. In others, it's engineering. All the engineers rise to the top. And it has nothing to do with, it has to do with education or experience. It has nothing to do with gender or race or anything else. But we don't want to have any type of glass ceilings in our organization. So how do we make sure that we prevent those? Well, there's 6 ways. Number 1, recruit and promote based on talent and potential. People with talent and potential. Don't recruit based on gender. Are you just like the boss? Or but based on experience, talent, potential, possibility to learn. I personally believe you can learn how to do anything. Anyone can learn how to do anything if they have the desire. Number 2, eliminate evaluation bias. Now, I kind of snickered when I read this one, because I'm like, okay, we are all automatically biased, but we can do things to add numbers and subjective measures to evaluation to eliminate some of the bias. Number 3, we want to encourage mentoring relationships. Like I said, I mentioned that from Procter & Gamble, my first corporate career job on, I always was mentoring other women and other people, not just women, but other people in the organization, to bring them up, help them continually improve, work on their skills that made them more promotable. Number 4, promote gender-neutral networking, meaning have networking for everybody. Again, this is focused on the glass ceiling being preventing women from advancing, but it can apply to anything or anyone. Number 5, adopt a zero-tolerance policy, meaning we're not going to eliminate people based on anything that isn't right. We're going to find the best people for the job. And we're not going to do reverse discrimination either, by the way. Number 6, provide flexible options for all employees. A lot of times women tend to be more responsible for the things in the home and for the family. At least that was my situation in corporate America. And because that, traditional old world thinking was that if you're a woman, you're not going to be as devoted to your job because you've got a family and you have family responsibilities. And my ex-husband and I decided early on in my career that I was going to be the one, my career was going to be the primary career in our relationship and in our family. And so he had to be more flexible than he would have otherwise been with respect to helping with the kids. Did it always work out that way? No, we're divorced. So it didn't always work out that way. But up front, we had the discussion that it was going to be important that I had more flexibility so that nobody could use that, well, you have to be home with the kids, or you have to take care of the kids, or if one of your kids is sick, you're just going to call in sick and not be here for this important meeting. Never once happened in my corporate career. 0 times. Remember one year I traveled like 24 times in 8 weeks. It was ridiculous. We went on so many business trips. I missed every birthday in my family that year, my wedding anniversary, everything. And it was okay because that was our choice at the time. So let's all work together to make sure we're eliminating any possibility of glass ceilings forming in our organization and see how much better we reflect the people that we serve. I'd love to know your experience with glass ceiling. Have you bumped your head up against that and been prevented from moving forward? Or are you continually busting through it like I had to in my career? Have an awesome day. I will, of course, be with you tomorrow with another interesting idiom. What does it mean? Where does it come from? And how might you use it in your business and your life today? Take care.